Down and Colomer should have enough points to advance onto that top 16.
All right,
and
good.
make the cut.
Colomer going into this heat with 10 points in the first 2 rounds, and that third place finish, he is looking pretty good. Look at this, the legend, Mike Stewart, up and riding. Nice tight spin under the lip, gets back out to the, I'm losing my words, this
wow,
guy's
Mike
crazy.
comes out of the barrel after spinning into the barrel, combos it with the roll, still driving down the line.
Unbelievable.
The master at work.
All right, so Mike Stewart on a smaller wave was able to put together a combination of maneuvers that left me speechless. I mean, the tight spin in the pocket, turns around and slides into the barrel perfectly, and Mike Stewart, a great wave. And look at this, in the black jersey, big air roll spin, the local rider in black, Rafael Rivera, and a great wave exchange right off the bat. 1 minute into the heat, Mike Stewart in the white jersey, Rafael Rivera in black, Jorge Colomer from Puerto Rico in yellow, and McCarthy in red, the South African.
Yeah, so we saw Mike Stewart drawing first blood on his wave, followed by Rafael Rivera. And then we saw Mark McCarthy take a look at one, but then back off at the last second. He almost got sucked over the falls.
Let's go back to Mike Stewart's wave. This is after he does a tight spin in the pocket, slides under the barrel, perfect textbook tube riding by the master himself, Mike Stewart. And here he is just coming out of that barrel. Eyes are set. He's not done with his wave. He knows he's got a lot more time, a lot more wave face to do more maneuvers. And here he is coming out of that barrel into a nice cylindrical barrel roll. This guy is the cleanest, sharpest, smoothest functional rider in the world. Mike Stewart, he is at the tender age of 48 years old, I believe.
48 years old this year. And there you can see, folks, the score's dropping. Well, I see it. Mike Stewart's going a 7.65 on that first wave. Mike Stewart, an absolute living legend in our sport. There you can see 40. He just recently, for the summer, turned 48 during the course of this tour season. Currently ranked 16th.
So Mike Stewart has been around since the birth of bodyboarding. 1970, Tom Morey invented the bodyboard, and with Mike Stewart, Tom Morey together have brought bodyboarding to where it is today. And thank them for bringing us bodyboarding, period.
And that was Jorge Colomer up and riding. It looked like he got bounced by a little chop, dug his rail, and bailed out. Just to touch back on Mike Stewart, when I was a kid, I used to read articles in Bodyboarding Magazine about how Mike Stewart, when he was first starting to bodyboard, he would sneak out in the dark in the morning and go riding in the dark and ride on feel because he had to get to school and wanted to get waves in before school.
Stewart, we can have a lot of stories. This guy right here on his second wave, Jorge Colomer, in yellow, Puerto Rican.
So Jorge Colomer with a couple of quick waves, not really able to acquire much on either one. There you can see him paddling out. Jorge making it through the trials. He was one of the most stoked competitors from the trials.
Jorge Colomer is one of those riders that loves to free surf, loves to compete, and this guy is on the road pretty much 10 months out of the year. But, I mean, coming home to Puerto Rico is like being on a surf trip. And it's amazing to see how much travel time Jorge Colomer and how much barrel time he has accumulated over the years. So Jorge Colomer now in second place in this heat.
Yes, I'm really stoked to have had the opportunity over the last handful of years to see Jorge Colomer progress as a bodyboarder. You've alluded to it. He's been popping up everywhere, Hawaii, Mexico. He's been competing steadily on the U.S. National Tour, the USBA, and he's making inroads now with the IBA International Tour, and it's really cool to watch riders progress like Jorge Colomer.
Yes, Jorge Colomer, definitely a nomad, a vagabond of sorts. My wife and I drove down to Cabo San Lucas, Baja. We pulled over on the side of the road in the middle of the desert to use the restroom, and next thing you know, coming around out of the corner is Jorge Colomer. Hey, Manny, what's up, brother?
Yes, when we were in Hawaii for Pipeline, I had a strange tendency to run into Jorge all over the place. It's really cool to just run into people.
Jackson Priority is in red. Mark McCarthy, that's why Stewart didn't take off. Let's see what Mark McCarthy can do on this one.
Mark hitting the roll, lands back, follows it up with a secondary roll. Not really a clean landing on the first roll and kind of forcing the second one. That'll get Mark on the board, but Mark, kind of mistimed it a little bit.
Yes, Mark has a really clean, smooth style. I was going to say Cluth. But, yeah, clean, smooth style. Mark McCarthy, the South African, has his eyes set on a world title, and guess what? He can probably pull it off here at the Encanto Pro Puerto Rico.
Yes, Mark McCarthy currently sitting in 6th place in the World Tour rankings. Still has a shot at the title.
But all the things have to fall into place for Mark McCarthy to be a world champion. The one in the charge of a world champion is Jeff Hubbard. All he has to do is get 2nd place, and Ryan has to not end up in 2nd. So there you have it. We have the winner of the last heat downstairs with Shaggy. Shaggy, give it to us, brother.
Guys, I'm down here with Mitch Rawlins, another 18-pointer on the leaderboard rounds. Mitch, congratulations on your 3rd win in a row. How does it feel?
Yeah, pretty good. I've never done that before. I've always been kind of on the cusp of not making it into the next round, so it feels pretty good to finish up top. And yeah, the waves are pumping, and looks like we're going to run the whole day today, so it'll be pretty sick.
Now, I saw you had a huge invert. Tell us about that thing. That looked amazing.
Yeah, the waves are perfect for it. You know, you get the right one, you can do pretty much anything you want to do out there. It was a pretty tough heat with Tamaga and Yuri. Those guys can do almost anything as well. So I didn't really know what that was going to score, but might have looked bigger than what it felt. So, but you know, I'm hoping to get some more. There's some incredible waves out there. So.
All right. Well, congratulations on that. You got a 9.25 for that. So it was very good. Back to you guys in the commentary.
Winner of the last heat, and Mitch Rollins absolutely dominating that last heat. And we saw some wave exchange going down in this heat. Action, what do we got?
That was Rafael Rivera in the black jersey from Puerto Rico on that last wave. And they can see him paddling back. We're waiting for scores to drop from the judges. Here's a quick replay of what we just saw. Rafael again up and riding.
Rafael, one of the most experienced riders here in Puerto Rico. A handful of riders are able to do what this guy has done for several years, and Rafael has been in the mix for the past 20 years for sure. And there he is, showing his tube riding skills and exit with a nice roll. Again, textbook spin, and I mean, he has his legs crossed on those spins. He has his head looking forward on that roll, and it was a great wave for our boy Rafael Rivera. Jorge Colomer.
Yeah, Jorge Colomer had the wave before Rafael. Quick exchange between the Puerto Ricans. Jorge scored a 6.4. That's enough to push him into the top spot right now.
All right, but he has to get rid of that second high-scoring wave under Jorge Colomer's score sheet, 2.5. He can totally build on that. Right now, Mike Stewart sitting on a 7.65, and he can build on that easily.
All right, and Rafael Rivera follows it up with a 6.65. So the Puerto Ricans trading off waves. Jorge Colomer with a 6.4, Rafael Rivera with a 6.65. So Rafael Rivera moves into the 2nd spot. But again, he needs to replace that secondary score of 1.5.
So a lot of these local riders, number one, cannot believe that, you know, legendary riders like Mike Stewart would be competing. Not only that, would they be in the same heat with Mike Stewart? And not only that, but actually being ahead of Mike Stewart in a heat. So it's a very special experience for the Puerto Ricans. Very surreal.
Yeah, but they better not let it go to their heads, because it is Mike Stewart, the 9-time world champion, and they also have Mark McCarthy out there to contend with. Mike with a 7.65 on his first wave, still looking for a secondary score, and Mark McCarthy with a 4.25 on his wave, still looking for a secondary score as well. So, you know, I wouldn't get too happy. I'd enjoy the fact that, hey, you know, currently beating Mike Stewart, but with 20 minutes left, it's still, you know, wide open. And you can't let down your guard when you have guys like Mark McCarthy and Mike Stewart out in the water with you.
They only have one wave under their scorecard, so plenty of time, 20 minutes remaining. So we got the camera showing on us, and there's a little lull in the action, so let's do this one more time. We're going to be shooting this off. Beanies, IBA beanies are online, IBAWorldTour.com. Just click on the shop button. Also, this is cool. We have a black and white iPhone covers. Here you go. Sorry, Jackson, I just ripped that out of your hands. Now back to the live action. Looks like some guys are looking at some of the sets coming in, and it is white. Mike Stewart.
Stewart up and riding, driving down the line. They can see kind of pumping for speed. Trim line, cut back, spin, sets down, drops back down, driving down the line. There you can see minor rail adjustments make a big deal. He hits the aerial maneuver off of that section. A lot of small little technical details there in the riding, adjusting his line, trimming, driving off the bottom, setting up the oncoming section. Very nice ride from Mike Stewart.
Yes, Mike Stewart, very clean technical rider. Unreal, unmatched rail control. Mike Stewart taking another look. So here he is, looking down the line, and he knows that he has to get down there, get back into the power zone. Nice carve off the top to get a little bit more speed and able to pull off his spin before he drops back down to the bottom and get into that speed line. There he sets his rail, sets his sight on the section, and does what he does best, and he flows with the ocean. It looks like he's always flowing with the ocean, never going against it, and just incredible riding from Mike Stewart.
Now, for the folks at home, they've heard Manny and myself mentioning small little technical things like bottom turns, rail adjustments, shifting their weight, all of these little things that are not very easy to pick up on the eye if you're just watching in general. They play a big part in bodyboarding and how a rider performs out in the water.
The beauty about bodyboarding, anybody can bodyboard. You show up at the beach with a bodyboard, you know, the $10 ones or the $200 ones, and there's going to be a time where you're going to want to progress to a level like Mark McCarthy in red on this wave. If you want to get to this position, you got to be able to control your board, and that's what it comes down to, controlling the speed on your board. Mark McCarthy showing a perfect example of that on that wave.
That was a really nice wave from Mark McCarthy. Mark taking off, getting the spin, and hitting the roll off the end section. Nice spin-to-roll combination. Here's the replay.
All right, Mark McCarthy setting a rail and a little bump. Caught him off guard right there, but re-engages that rail and does a perfect spin, crosses his legs, gets that the speed to come around quickly and reset his rail, and the timing impeccable from Mark McCarthy, the South African. Nice invert right there, pulls it off. That is definitely going to help him and his campaign here in heat number 6 of the 3rd round.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to move him up out of that 4th spot. Currently out in the water, Mike Stewart has a 7.65 and a 6.0 to hold the lead. Mark McCarthy's going to get a 6.3 on that. That's going to bump him up into the 2nd spot right behind Mike Stewart.
All right now, Rafael led that up in the black jersey, the local Puerto Rican, building on a 1.5, his 2nd highest scoring wave on his scorecard. And I thought he was going to do it on that, but he could not pull around that maneuver. And now he is sitting on a 1.5, a 6.65, and whatever the judges are going to score that last wave.
All right, so Rafael Rivera, a 1.65 on that last wave. There in the background, you can see McCarthy cruising the horizon, but Rafael Rivera paddling back out. The local wild card for Puerto Rico. Rafael Rivera, he's been making a name for himself the last few years.
Yes, I had the pleasure of meeting him about 12, 13 years ago when he was a young gun, and we can see it that this guy had some definite skills, and he was here to stay in the bodyboarding community. Jeff Hubbard, Ryan Hardy, looking very intently to the water, and riders like this. Mark McCarthy sliding under the barrel, nice 2-time, comes out, nice roll right there on the exit. Again, Mark McCarthy picking up speed towards the end of this heat. Another great wave for the Safa, Mark McCarthy.
That was another nice smooth wave. Here we have the replay of Mark McCarthy. Pulls into the barrel section, driving down the line, holding a nice line, just underneath the curtain, racing the barrel. That was a nice barrel ride. He comes out, adjusts his line, heads up to the top, and there you go, boom. Rolls out of the barrel.
Wow. Unbelievable. Mark McCarthy chasing a 7.36, and I believe that wave may be it. We will wait until the scores drop from the judges. So a great wave. Not a giant wave, not a bigger set, but you know what? Probably the best tube ride of the event so far this morning.
Yes, that was a very nice long barrel ride. 7.1 on that wave. That will be not quite enough to catch Mike Stewart, but still a nice score for Mark McCarthy on that one.
Yes, that replaced his 4.25 wave. Now he is sitting on 13.4, which is the total, the combined scores of his top two scoring waves, a 6.3 and a 7.1. Now he's on the hunt for a 6.56 on his next wave to take that first place spot away from Mike Stewart. Taking a look at the guys getting ready, coming up next, Amory Laverne. There he is doing the splits again. Ouch! That's just painful to look at.
Yes, Amory Laverne coming up. He will be joined out in the water in the next heat by Gaston Intrudo, Ider Luciano, and the young Hawaiian Trevor Cam.
That is the level right here. Amory Laverne is one of the top riders. He is your current world champion, 2010 current world champion, and I'm sure the ladies are liking that stretching exercise right there. As you can tell, he's doing, I don't know what they call it, plyometrics or whatever, but believe me, if I stretch my legs like that, I would have to go straight to the hospital.
Yeah, I'd probably be pulling something myself, Manny. That's just a perfect example of Amory Laverne. He, true athlete, true professional.
And if you keep your eyes on Amory right now, he's actually going to springboard and grab onto the top of that tent and start his arm exercises. All right, we're not going to get a shot of that. Amory Laverne and his stretching before his heat. Okay, coming up next, we already mentioned Amory Laverne, Gaston, Eder, Trevor. Those guys are coming up next. But now, live action in red, Mark McCarthy, throwing his hands up in frustration as that wave closes out. Mark McCarthy currently looking for a 6.56. First place, Mike Stewart. Mark McCarthy second. Jorge Colomer looking for a 7.26 for first. And Rafael Rivera a 7.01. So they're all within striking distance to take that first place spot away from Mike Stewart. Again, this is the third and last round in the 3-round leaderboard system. One more time, if you're just joining us to the Encanto Pro Puerto Rico, Manny V and Steve Jackson. Jackson, give us the rundown one more time on the leaderboard rounds.
All right, leaderboard rounds. Again, it's a round of 3. Let me start that over, Manny.
Go for it.
It's a 3-round system where the top 32 riders for the event, the top 24 from the World Tour, and the wild cards and trialists go through a series of 3 rounds, awarded points for where they finish, 6 points for first, 4 points for second, 3 points for third, 1 point for fourth. All those points are tallied after the end of the 3 rounds of the leaderboard, and the top 16 riders will advance on to man-on-man elimination heats for round 4 through the rest of the event.
And we are going to see round 4 today, following heat 8 of round number 3. All right, digging, kicking, and sliding into this wave, it is Rafael Rivera.
Rafael Rivera driving down the line there. You can see adjusting his line, head up to the
Oh,
top.
my.
Tweaks the invert, gets that board completely up over top of him, brings it back down, rides out. Nice wave from Rafael Rivera. That should be at least a good secondary score, if not better than his primary score.
To make sure he doesn't go down in vain, he will not be advancing on. He does not have the points to be in that top 16, but here he is still putting it all on the line, like with maneuvers like this big inverted aerial maneuver right, only tweaked almost past 90 degrees and pulls it off. Nice landing, a little bouncy, but you know what, pulls it off. And Rafael Rivera, nice score, 6.8 for Rafael's big invert maneuver right there. So Rafael and Mike Stewart sitting in second and first place respectively.
Yeah, that's going to bump Rafael into the second position. There you can see Ider Luciano from Brazil with his jersey assignment, getting ready to hit the water in the next heat. We have about 11 minutes remaining in this heat.
Yeah, Eder Luciano had a gigantic heat yesterday, and I say gigantic because he was busting some huge aerial maneuvers, and Sasha Specker actually captured one of those maneuvers on the photo, and it was sent out on a press release. And in fact, it is now on IBAWorldTour.com news. If it's not on the first page, the home page, look for it. You want to see a photo of Eder Luciano. It was amazing. Up and riding, Mark McCarthy in the red jersey.
Wow, that was a little bit of a traffic jam paddling for that one, but Mark comes out on the wave, driving down the line, hits the roll. It's going to be a 1-maneuver wave, and he's going to duck out.
So that will, I'm not sure if that's going to be a 6.56, what Mark McCarthy is going for, but 10 minutes to go. I think he should slow down, take a step back and just relax and wait for that wave. 10 minutes to go. We have noticed that bigger waves are coming in within those 10 minutes, so you can sit back, relax, maybe even paddle away from the other competitors because now he is last in the priority list. So I would wait for a solid one, and this might be it. Ooh, he took a look at this left but decides not to go.
We were talking earlier about the leaderboard standings, and Mark coming into this heat we mentioned needed a second or third to advance out. Third place, we kind of put him on the bubble. Mike Stewart needs to win out if he wants to have a shot. Mike coming into this with a total of 6 points, so he needs those 6 points for the win. There you can see Mike doing his best to make sure that happens so that he can not only make it to the round of 16 in the main event, but so that he can maintain his 16th spot ranking on the World Tour and stay on Grand Slam Series for 2012.
Yes, right now, this is pretty much, this could be history in the making where Mike Stewart, if he does not advance, could be the end of being on the Grand Slam Series. This is a two-tier system, and he has always been on the Grand Slam Series, the World Tour, but it might happen. He may have to go back to the bottom tier in the qualifying series.
Yeah, so right now Mike Stewart with more on the line than just winning this heat and making it to the next round. We've been saying all throughout this event that there are a lot of numbers at play, both for the rankings, the World Tour hunt, guys trying to stay in contention to be on the tour for next year, and guys trying to move up and make it into the tour for next year. There you can see Amaury Rivera, the 2010 world champ, getting ready to hit the water. Amaury still kind of in contention for the world title, but on the outside looking in. But he's pretty much secured his position to be in contention and on the Grand Slam Series for 2012.
No, he's sitting all right. He still has that small chance to get that world title this year, but he knows a lot of things have to happen to make that happen. So he's just happy to be in the top 16 for next year.
Yes, Amaury commented about being a little frustrated with his performance at the last event at Reunion Island. That was his home turf. He wanted to do very well. He wanted to win the event, obviously, on his home territory. But
Mike
still in
Stewart.
contention. Meanwhile, Mike Stewart trying to make sure he stays in contention. Drives through that little barrel section. Heads up.
Oh.
Nice invert from the 9-time world champ, but unable to complete the maneuver.
Unreal. Last time I seen a 48-year-old get that high, it wasn't on a bodyboard. Mike Stewart, one of the best bodyboarders in the world, and he is the veteran. He is bodyboarding. In fact, one of the questions I sent out to a lot of these riders is, what are you going to do after your bodyboarding career? Mike Stewart's answer, DIE. This guy is in for the long haul. He is bodyboarding. Mike Stewart, welcome. Actually, no. We are stoked to for you letting us in your world. Mike Stewart.
Wow, Manny. Jorge Colomer driving through that barrel on the right, comes in, out, throws into the spin. Still going, looking for that inside section to get the final finishing maneuver, but not going to shape up for him. But that was a nice barrel ride. He really drove through that barrel section.
Jorge Colomer has clocked in more tube time than a lot of the Puerto Ricans here in the competition. Not only at home, but also around the world. And you can see he has honed his skills as a tube rider, Jorge Colomer. I've seen him in some massive waves, and here he is taking advantage of his backyard 4-foot wave right there. Nice wave for Jorge Colomer. Wolverine. He's got these big lamb chops coming down the side of his face, and he looks like Wolverine, especially with that yellow shirt on.
Yeah, Jorge Colomer, very talented. One of the nicest guys you can cruise around with and catch waves with. Always a pleasure to be around him out in the water.
Where we at right now? Mike Stewart in first place.
Yes, quick rundown of the scores out in the water. Mike Stewart with a 3.25 on that last wave. He has high scores of 7.65 and 6.0 to maintain the lead. Rafael Rivera, the local Puerto Rican, the wild card in the black jersey, sits in second with a 6.65 and 6.8 for a combined 13.45. Right now, he's sitting in front of Mark McCarthy, who's in third, has a 13.4 combined score, and Jorge Colomer with an 11.75 combined score. He got a 5.35 on that last wave. Probably would have been a little higher if he had gotten a section after exiting the barrel and was able to perform some sort of lip maneuver as opposed to a spin on the face.
Well, we know for sure Rafael Rivera, unfortunately, will not be advancing on to the next heat. Mike Stewart, he needs a win here to ensure that he will advance on to the man-on-man. Whoa, Mike Stewart going for an air roll spin. Again, Mike Stewart throwing it all down here in this heat. And again, I'm sorry, but I get overly excited when I see Mike Stewart hit the lip and go airborne because, I mean, this guy has been around from day one when it comes to bodyboarding, and here he is.
Manny, there's no need to apologize. Anytime I see Mike Stewart out in the water, I immediately turn into a 13-year-old Grom, watching him go out and bust like he's always done. Here you can see him dropping in, adjusts his line, shifts his weight, heads up to the lip, and he's going to get great projection off of this. Gets it around, and 48 years old. Doesn't matter in bodyboarding. You can be 18, you can be 48, you can still go out there and kill it.
That's right, Mike Stewart holding it down for the old school bodyboarders, and they should be proud. And you know what? I talked to a lot of the other riders. Pat Codwell definitely enjoyed his heats at the Pipeline Pro this year. And what they did was had an expression session with a lot of the former world champs, the old school bodyboarders, and Pat Codwell was a part of that crew, and he enjoyed it. And I talked to JP Patterson. He is keen, and it'll be exciting to see what happens at Pipe. Now, first, Jorge Colomer goes inverted.
Jorge getting some lift on that one, but that's going to be all she wrote. He lands, and the wave closes out behind him. So a quick one-maneuver wave, a one and done for Jorge Colomer. Still very nice invert on that one. Clean, nice flow.
All right, right now, Mark McCarthy sitting in third place. Let's take another look real quick at Jorge Colomer.
There you can see Jorge heading up to the top. Hits it perfectly, gets nice arm extension. Doesn't quite tweak it as far up over his head as we've seen some of the other competitors, but still a very nice, smooth, fluid maneuver there from Jorge Colomer.
Jorge Colomer currently sitting in the 6-point range, which means he is in there with Mike Stewart, which means Jorge has to win. Mark McCarthy, the South African, tons of speed, nice projection, and pulls off a nice aerial maneuver and lands out into the flats perfectly. Mark McCarthy, he knows he does not want to sit in third place right now. If he sits in third place to the end of the heat, he will be awarded 2 points, and that will give him a total of 10 points. The bubble is what we've been calling it throughout the year in the leaderboard system.
Now, Manny, with that last wave, here we have the replay. Mark McCarthy dropping in, driving down the line. Here you can see the bottom turn, projecting up to the top, eyeing up that oncoming section. He hits it perfectly. Wow. Very clean, very smooth. Lands it, and you're going to see him right away. He's going to claim it so that he can duck out and make sure that the judges know he landed it cleanly, but he's about to duck out. He wants to make sure he gets scored appropriately for that.
Well, he was chasing a 6.81 on that wave, and it's going to be clocked in. The judges have dropped the score. We have 5 judges. The lowest score will be dropped, the highest score will be dropped, and the average of the 2 scores will be scored, and that came in at a 6.3. Not enough to jump into that second place spot.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, Manny.
All right, so actually, Mark was chasing a 6.35 for that second place spot, and that last wave came in at a 6.3. Oh, my.
Close, but no cigar, brother.
Almost.
Almost doesn't count.
All right, here we are. The judges fully focused on the water. There's our head judge. He's one of those other people that look really, really good with a bald head. That is Chico, our head judge.
Yes, Chico Gaetano from Copacabana, Brazil. He is joined there in the booth with our South African Shaggy and our tour manager, Tessa McKenna from Australia. We have a full international crew.
It's unbelievable. The Shaggy out back with Tessa, jotting down some notes, making sure all the stats are situated correctly. Judges and Chico looking at this. Mike Stewart dropping in.
Mike Stewart pulls under the little barrel section, rides it out, goes into the roll. Smaller wave, but Mike once again working it.
Well, Mike Stewart had priority right there, and he was fending off the other rider from capturing away him. That was Jorge Colomer. And again, strategies do come into play when you come down to this last round. Here we go, up and riding.
Up and riding Rafael Rivera with the roll. Comes around the section, sets up, looking for a little barrel section on the inside. Goes for an air roll spin, gets it around. Still going. He's taking this one all the way to the inside, Manny. And he rolls off of the in section. So a smaller wave, but Rafael Rivera doing his best to combo the heck out of it. Meanwhile, out the back,
Mark McCarthy, this is the last chance, the last hope to get into that second place spot.
Oh.
Nice backflip or air roll spin. We're going to have to look at that again. My eyes are just going crazy on this last wave. Mark McCarthy chasing his 6.35 to advance into that second place position, which he will love to have. And if he gets into that second place, he will get 4 points to add on to his 8 points, put him in that 12-point situation. Unbelievable. This is not the last. This is not the final scores. We do have one more wave dropping for Mark McCarthy. Please stand by. Hold that graphic. Is Mark McCarthy going to jump into that second place spot? Rafael Rivera holding it second. Mark McCarthy, we're still waiting for that score to drop. What do we have? Jackson, where are we at?
Yes, Mark McCarthy pulling in just under the horn, the final horn, getting the last wave of the heat. Hits the big maneuver, combos it with a spin, another spin, works it all the way to the inside, redirects, get another maneuver, waiting for the score to drop. 6.6, that's enough to move him into that second spot. That may very well be enough to make sure that Mark McCarthy advances on into the round of 16 and man-on-man elimination heats.
There you see it on your screen going live now, 6.6. Jackson got the head start for the points, but Mark McCarthy, now he can relax.